Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. It's hard to believe, but in just a little over 2 months from now, E3 will be up on us once again. We've already got confirmation about several big publishers participating, including Nintendo. Yeah, that's right, we will get a big Nintendo event in just 2 months where maybe we get some more information on that quote-unquote Switch Pro and possibly those Zelda remasters and Breath of the Wild 2. Very exciting time for Nintendo fans, but actually, it looks like they have an event planned for April as well. In fact, it's tomorrow, so we will talk about that and a new Switch Lite variation. So make sure to stick around for that. Also, the PS5 is getting a very much appreciated major update that will make life for PS5 owners better. Meanwhile, the PS4 got some concerning news, so yeah, there's a lot happening right now, and without further ado, let's take a look at our first topic of the day. Now, this is something that we talked about a few weeks ago, but there was some reports coming out that Nier Automata is running better on Xbox Game Pass for PC than what it was on Steam. The reason for this is because the Xbox Game Pass version was a different edition entirely. On Steam, you have access to the Yorha edition, whereas on Xbox Game Pass for PC, you're able to download the Become as Gods edition, which does have some notable upgrades. It has things like borderless video settings, Fidelity FX, HDR, among other improvements. Meanwhile, fans who purchased it on Steam have been dealing with a release that's been kind of broken. There is a fan-made mod out there that does fix its problems, but the truth is, Square Enix should have fixed it themselves. They just kind of abandoned it. So while it was great to see Xbox Game Pass get the Become as Gods edition, fans who already purchased Nier on PC kind of looked at that as a slap to their face. You know, they paid money for a game and Square Enix just kind of left it broken, all while making a better version for a different PC storefront. It just didn't sit well with a lot of fans. Well, Steam users decided to review bomb Nier Automata after that, which I don't usually condone, but I did understand the frustration this time. And the good thing is that yes, Square Enix has now responded. They have confirmed that they are now working on a patch for the Steam version. No release date has been made official just yet, but this is overall great news for fans who did purchase Nier on Steam. So the fans definitely won here, and I do have to say, Nier Automata is an amazing game. If they get this running properly on PC, this is an absolute must-play game. What makes this even better though is that this news comes just ahead of the Nier Replicant remaster releasing on April 23rd. I'm very excited about that game. Next up, we have an Xbox and PC game heading over to PlayStation. Call of the Sea launched into Xbox Game Pass back in December. If you haven't tried it already, definitely do so. This was one of the better exclusives to release on the Xbox Series during its launch period. It has striking visuals that really makes use of its vibrant colors, it has an interesting setting, a mysterious narrative, and it's a good puzzle game. If you missed out on this game before, you might want to check it out. It's definitely flying under the radar for a lot of people, but now it will be heading to the PS4 and PS5 sometime in May. Hopefully that will expand its fanbase even further. It does deserve more recognition. As of this moment though, we don't have an exact release date, but as we hear more, I will update you on that. Either way, PlayStation fans keep an eye out for this game because it might surprise you when you try it out for yourself. Let's talk about some Nintendo related stuff though, as we got a new Nintendo Switch variation. There's been a lot of talk about a quote-unquote Switch Pro, and while we haven't heard anything about that yet, we did get a new variant for the Switch Lite, and I have to say, I really like this one. This is a royal blue Switch Lite, and it looks really attractive. It kind of reminds me of one of my all-time favorite consoles, the Nintendo GameCube. I'm not in the market for a Switch Lite myself, but I mean, if I was, this would be my go-to out of all the colors they have available. It just looks really good and it stands out in my opinion. Now, if you are on the market for a Switch Lite, it will be available on May 21st, which is interesting. That's actually the same day that the upcoming RPG Miitopia releases. This isn't a game that I'm particularly excited for, as I wasn't really a big fan of this game on the 3DS. I've never been a big fan of Miis in general, to be completely honest with you. I, however, have heard that Miitopia is more than just a simple remake of the 3DS title, so hopefully for those who are looking forward to this game gets a lot out of it. I could see some people picking up that new royal blue Switch Lite with Miitopia, and it could be a nice day one combo. Here's something really exciting for you Nintendo fans though. Even though we do have that Nintendo E3 to look forward to in June, we also have a new event planned for tomorrow on April 14th. This is a brand new Nintendo Indie World Showcase where they highlight some of the better upcoming independent games. I shouldn't really say upcoming though, because it always seems like that we do get a few shadow releases as well. I do expect some surprise releases tomorrow. It sounds like that there could be a lot here though. It's a 20-minute showcase that starts at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yeah, you can compile a lot of games into a 20-minute showcase for independent games. What will be here though? And I feel like I say this every single time, but surely we hear about Hollow Knight Silksong at this event. We've been waiting for what seems like forever for Silksong. I do believe Hollow Knight is an all-time great Metroidvania, and there is a lot of anticipation for its sequel. Now, I'm not saying it will be at this event, but in the off chance it is, you might want to tune in tomorrow. If you do miss it, however, I will give you a brief summary of what happens there as I usually do. Another game that I'm looking forward to that I hope is here is Axiom Verge 2. Now, we haven't gotten any information on that rumored 2D Metroid game from Mercury Steam, but Axiom Verge is basically a 2D Metroid with a different skin. I really enjoyed the first game, and I do know that they are targeting a release for the first half of 2021. So there's a good chance that might be there as well, with it getting an official release date. Yeah, it could end up being a really good day for Metroidvania fans, and I am all for that. And even though I am hopeful that we see these games there, I'm excited to see what else is in store. You never know what to expect from indie developers, and I'm sure after tomorrow, several games will have caught the eye of fans across the world. Let's talk about PlayStation though, and there is a lot to go over today. Some good, some not so much. Unfortunately, PlayStation has been in the news a lot here recently for some things that has the game community concerned. And today that's kind of continuing. There's been a lot of discussion about PlayStation Legacy games here recently, and there was a rumor a few weeks ago that if your PS4 CMOS battery dies, you will no longer be able to play your games while in offline mode until you reconnect to Sony's servers. This includes both digital and physical games alike. This means that even if you replace your CMOS battery, you will still need that one-time authentication check from Sony in order to play any of your games again in offline mode. This is apparently linked to PlayStation trophies and making sure the system date and time is correct in order to keep trophies accurate. While none of this is necessarily a big deal as of this moment, it has brought on concern from fans hoping for longevity with their PS4. In recent light of Sony shutting down their legacy stores, we don't really know what's going to happen 10 to 20 years down the road. If PSN goes down for any reason, and if your CMOS battery dies after that, it will essentially make your PlayStation 4 library useless if this is indeed true. And the thing is, your CMOS battery will die at some point. That's just inevitable. Well, it's now been confirmed that if your CMOS battery does in fact die, that is exactly what happens as shown by Twitter user Forest Reviews. Now, with that said, there is a possibility that Sony addresses this and pushes a firmware update to fix this particular problem. With this being known about now and with fans raising awareness about this topic, hopefully they do. It is important to keep in mind though that we are speaking in hypotheticals right now. PlayStation might not ever take those servers down for those one-time authentication checks. It's concerning, yes, but it's hard to tell what will happen in the next couple of decades. I think it's also worth noting that the PS5 is backwards compatible with the PS4, so that should prolong the PS4 library even further, whereas the PS3 library was unfortunately kind of stuck on one console. I mean, sure, this isn't exactly ideal, and hopefully Sony fixes it, but we'll see what happens. Here's some good news for PS5 owners, though. The PS5 is getting its first major update, which includes some very welcome features. This includes new social features for the PS4 and PS5 consoles. This is pretty cool, but they're expanding on Share Play. This is where you can share your screen with a friend on another console and even let them try said game out. Well, they managed to make this a cross-generation feature where you can do that between the PS5 and PS4. Now, if I read this correct, you'll even be able to let PS4 users try PS5 games this way. In other words, you could try out the PS5 exclusive Demon's Souls on the PS4 via Share Play. Now, I don't know how something like Astra's Playroom would work, which, makes use of the PS5 DualSense controller, but it's a pretty cool feature. This update will also allow for more personalization, which is quietly one of the most useful features here. You'll be able to customize your library, screen zoom, disable game chat or adjust players' volume, and they'll even have new trophy settings and stat screens. I like that one a lot. I think Sony has really stepped up their game with the PS5's UI and operating system. My favorite inclusion is allowing you to see how long you've played each game. I don't know why I like this feature so much, but it's my favorite thing about the 3DS and Steam. I just love seeing what my most played games are, and the PS5 included that this generation, and now they're really bringing a lot of options to customize your PS5 experience the way that you like it. They also updated the PlayStation app for mobile phones, and the big one that everybody seems to be talking about, you can now expand your PS5 storage with compatible external USB drives. Now, this does not mean that you can play games on these external drives. That's not what's happening here. You still have to use the PS5 solid-state drive to play your games, but what you can do is store games on an external device and then install them on your PS5 later on, which is quicker than downloading. This is something that Xbox does as well, and it's a nice feature. It also ensures you that if the PlayStation Store goes down for whatever reason, you'll still have access to your library considering you have it stored on your own device. You'll just have to transfer it to the PS5 when you're ready. But yeah, overall this is a big update and it should make the PS5 experience even better than what it already was. On to the poll of the day though. One thing has been very apparent within the last couple years. Game subscription services are on the rise. You have Xbox Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Now, Xbox Live Gold, Ubisoft Plus, EA Play, Amazon Luna, Google Stadia, and the list goes on. There's a lot of subscription services out there, and I wanted your thoughts on whether or not you like this trend of game subscriptions becoming mainstream. And 67% of you said that yes, you do like this trend, with several of you pointing out as long as you have options, you're good with these subscription services. That's a great attitude to have. You're not being forced to subscribe, but they're there if you want to take advantage of their service. If you want to buy games, you still have that option, and with things like Xbox Game Pass, they even give you a discount if you want to own a game. That's a nice addition, and as Eric C. pointed out, a lot of people will only play a game once or twice and then kind of move on. I mean, really, we saw this a lot with used games. Somebody would beat a game in like a day and then return it to GameStop where they would sell it used for like $5 off. That happens all the time, and this is a good alternative for fans who does something like that. But yeah, for me, if it wasn't already obvious, I do like subscription services. Xbox Game Pass has introduced me to so many great games that I wouldn't have tried otherwise, and on top of that, it saves me a lot of money because of all these day one releases. You all in the comments talked about options, and I for one buy even more games thanks to subscriptions like this, in part because I have extra money, and they just keep introducing me to all these great new franchises that I didn't really try before. So in that case, I'm taking advantage of both of these options. I also like what PlayStation has been doing with PlayStation Plus. Here recently, I've been enjoying Oddworld Soulstorm, which launched directly into PlayStation Plus last week. So yeah, when you get new games that you may not have tried otherwise, plus you save a bunch of money, yeah, I can sign up for something like that. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.